Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Marion White, and with me is my co-host for since the beginning of time, I guess.
Since the beginning of time.
At least for Larchmont today.
Before the dinosaurs.
Yes. Ken Viallo. Great to see you, Ken.
Nice to see you, Marion.
You were trustee in the village of Larchmont for 11 years. You were mayor for 4 years.
Yes.
And you were a volunteer on many different committees and commissions. That was a lot of free time you gave to the village, so thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Are you expecting me to come back and say that you were a trustee for 4 years and the head of the Larchmont Republican Party, the late, great, demised Larchmont Republican Party for, what, 15, 20, 25 years? You're not expecting me to say that?
No,
so
not
this
at
is a total
all.
surprise. Okay, there you go.
Okay, we've checked off that.
Yes.
Now the next thing that is really great.
Yes.
It's been so wonderful. There's usually some positive news. We always like to start on an upbeat note. And so
before we deteriorate into abject complaining. Yes.
Right, and so the constant we were able to find is Furniture Share House.
Yes.
And the wonderful difference it's making in people's lives, and how it is so many people are supporting it. And is the new $100,000 truck, is that there yet?
It's on the road.
What color is it?
It's beigey white sort of thing with the Furniture Share House logo. Catherine Walks, who is a resident here in the town and an extraordinary artiste, certainly in her advice with respect to plantings and landscaping and so on, but she's also excellent with her hand. And she drew the logo, and it's on the side of the truck, and then on the back I think there's a chair that says, "I'd rather be here than doing nothing at home," or something like that. I can't remember what the phraseology was, but it's very cute, and it's cool. It's very cool.
Well, listen.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And it wasn't $100,000, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
the
it
grant
was.
Yeah,
Oh,
the grant
okay.
was, yeah.
That would be something that would be great in one of the parades. I mean, and then we could, well, no, but it would be. They're always looking for equipment.
People could bring their furniture to the edge.
No, I thought you and I could sit in it and not have to
we
walk.
could sit in it.
Old trustees can get on the Furniture Share House truck.
As long as we're separated from the current office holders, I'm fine.
Well, anyway, that's really exciting. I have not seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to the pleasure.
Okay. We'll have Dave bring it around.
But then there are other things going on with Furniture Share House.
Yes. So, first of all, in case people don't know what this is, Furniture Share House is a place where you give your furniture and it gets picked up in the new truck, and it gets delivered. Gently used stuff, and it goes to White Plains, and there people who are coming out of shelters or otherwise are being given and provided with housing but don't have any furniture for the housing can come and select, and they shop. They literally shop up and down the aisles for things that they want. Shop for furniture which is delivered to them for free.
What a feeling that must be.
Yeah,
you know, coming from nothing and bad backgrounds, and then having a place of their own with furniture and, you know, really making it homey.
You have to. Someday I'll bring some of Kate's best thank you letters here and read them. Some of them are absolute tearjerkers. I mean, they really are. Some are sincere. Some are obviously things that were, just put together and sent in. But in any event, that's what the organization does. It distributes this stuff for free. Gently used furniture comes in, it's selected by people, and then it goes out and it's delivered to them. And they're not charged anything for the purchase, or they don't pay for any of the furniture itself. It's unlike other charities, who shall remain nameless, where they sell things in a store to people who don't have a lot of money to spend on things. Well, we give it away.
They take money from.
Yes, we give it away. We give it away. We give it away. Anyway, in 2007, while the idea was germinating in my wife's very fertile brain, she was attending a course given by an organization called Leadership Westchester.
Was the county sponsoring it?
No, it's not. It is not. Leadership Westchester is a private organization. I think it was started somewhere in the activities of United Way, and then kind of fell onto its own as spun out, as it would be. You know, it's Coke would spin out Sprite or something.
Right.
Spun out as kind of a division, a spawn of the United Way activities. And it set up this program. I can't remember how long it was. It might have been 2 or 3 months. It might have been longer. That was, I think it was once a week, maybe it was twice a week. You'd go and give speeches and then develop ideas. And the idea was to bring in people who had things on their mind that they wanted to develop into something helpful to the community. And all
so
I have
sort of an incubation kind of
in a way, sort of a training and support thing from people who are experienced in doing particularly nonprofit work.
Okay.
Nonprofit work. Just so you get a sense of this thing, Noam Bramson, who is the mayor of New Rochelle and was the candidate for county executive in last year's election, is a member of the graduating class of 2015 from Leadership Westchester. So,
I bet he has some
insights
to offer.
Well, I bet he does, but he's a class member. He's not a teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty high-level class member.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point, is that I think that it's not just for Little League coaches. This is for people who have something going. Anyway, Leadership Westchester runs this program, and it's the program is run by Volunteer New York. Leadership Westchester is what it's called.
Okay.
And Kate is going to be honored at their gala, and I think she has been an attentive alumna. She goes back when they call her back to give speeches or to encourage people.
So she
goes
thought
to
it
the
was
dinner.
a worthwhile thing.
Yeah, I think she did think it was worthwhile. It was instrumental, I think, in sort of getting her to find a place to put the idea, which was the first step in developing it, was to find a place that was big enough to be able to function as a warehousing facility. Things come in, people shop for them, then the things go out the door. So I think she has a warm place in her heart for this, and I think it's great that they saw fit, for whatever their reasons were, to make her the Alumna of the Year for 2015.
Well, she's a success story.
Well, she is one of their success stories, I think, is the way you would describe it. Yeah.
No, it's and she's been honored. I mean, we're always discussing over the past.
Awards.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And you get dragged along when she lets
you.
Sometimes.
Well,
I remember you even went up to Albany.
Yeah, we went to Albany. We had, that was the, what was that? That was, oh God, Leadership Women recognized by the State Senate. It was a special day, and remember that whole thing? We went up there and we were led around the the houses of the legislature.
And then how they got the $100,000 is this group of women that raised that money, and then how many people? Do 10 people present?
I can't remember. Yeah, they narrowed down all these applications to a few, and then there was the presentation to the all 100 of these people, and I think Kate was a killer in that one. She managed to get the grant. But then she got that award in San Antonio, and she got an award in Washington,
and
D.C.
there was the poem award or something.
That was the poem award, was in San Antonio.
Yes. Well,
so there's another award, but it's great to have the recognition, because the more press attention there is to this, the more people will know about it and think about it potentially when they have some gently used furniture to get rid of, which is the whole key. You got to keep the furniture coming in.
Right.
And once you've given away your stuff, you don't have any more stuff to give away. You got to constantly churn the million people who live in Westchester, who, I don't know how many of whom can afford to do this, for donations.
Well, but also it gives such credibility that, you know, Kate can then have access. Politicians will pay attention. Charities will, or, you know, people that give grants will pay attention.
That's good.
You know, it just.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, awesome. Congratulations to the executive director.
I had a lot of notes for this. I'm not sure I got them all right.
Well, who cares? Well, we should have Kate come once a year. That's what we should do and clarify things.
Yes.
So I know one of the things that you and I have enjoyed recently is there was an article about for the village of Larchmont, the new village administrator. And I don't know if it's just the description in the newspaper, that has so much to discuss. But there's the person who has gotten the job is 30 years old. He's going to be paid $126,500.
Oh, that's salary.
Salary.
Okay.
Does he get more?
Add on to that 40 or 50% for benefits, health insurance, dental insurance, workers.
Dental?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Workers' comp. You've got I don't know whether we do dental, maybe life insurance, FICA contributions, all kind of stuff. It's another. If it's 126,000, by the time you're done, it's probably 170,000. That's another $170,000 added to the village budget. I know you want to get to the quotes in this newspaper article because they're hysterical.
Well, just let me make one point, that they did not replace the village clerk, so there's a little bit of overlap there.
Yeah.
But probably not much.
Yeah, well, look, the first time that you and I got up at the League of Women Voters debate in 1991 when we were running for trustee.
Weren't we good looking then?
I don't know what to do with that. First time we got up there, mass of people from the opposing party, namely the Democrat Party, were sitting in the back on the left. And they were, they'd been in office for 100 years, and they had their weapons out, and they were ready to.
Actually, they were gunning for you.
Yeah, and I was so glad that they did, because we took care of that. I think we took care of that pretty well.
Brilliantly.
But the point is, from that moment on, it came to my attention, because that was when they first heard this. The village needs an administrator. The village needs an administrator. That was part of the discussion that night. What's your position on the village administrator? What are you talking about? What do you mean the village administrator? What do you need one for? And the then mayor was sitting in the back of the room with 2 pistols. Her hubby was sitting there with 4 pistols. Oh, he's a crack shot. Anyway, but this is something that we need. The village is being overcome by regulation and all this great stuff, and it's terrible, and it's terrible. We need that. We need professional help. I remember, just the day is long. Every single debate. How many years?
That was a question.
Yeah.
Gee, I didn't even remember.
Every single debate, League of Women Voters debate, all the way through 2006, that I participated in as a candidate, involved a question launched from the netherworld of Democrats saying, don't we need a village administrator? And for all of that time, we never had a village administrator.
Right.
Oh my God, the village was busy. We had this to do. There was the problems with the fire department. There were problems with the sewers. There was problems with the water. Had thousands of things to do. And we never had an administrator until this board. I don't know what these people thought they were running for when they ran for election. But being the job
to shorten the meetings.
Yeah. But having the job as trustee, or for that matter, mayor, involves a little bit of sacrifice, and you have to put some time and effort into it. Everybody was able to do it. Everybody until this board. This board is just not able to handle it. And now we know why. And now you get to read your quotes. Can you explain us what their explanation was for this?
According to the mayor, Datino's merit for the position stemmed from his experience and enthusiasm. What you want is someone who has the ability to do the job 24/7. That's what he has.
Can we stop? Is that a concession that she doesn't?
Well,
it's almost a concession.
I mean, it just means you want someone that's an insomniac. I mean, that doesn't say anything about experience. But she does say he has 8 years of experience working for Scarsdale.
All right.
Then the quote, I'll be able to bring to Larchmont as a brand new administrator. The idea is to bring continuity to the government and effectively run the day-to-day operations. When asked about his relatively young age, Datino said it allows him to stay working in the office all day but still be ready for a full day's work the next day. I think we could probably find quite a few people that are able to do that.
Well,
wouldn't you say?
If you're a member of the workforce, you do have to work sort of all day, yes?
Well, you work long hours.
All day.
Yeah.
I mean all day. I don't mean from 12:01 midnight to 11:59 p.m. I mean all day. like a working person, like how many people in this country? 160 million or 170 million working people. Go to work, you get up the next day, and you know what you have to do?
Oh, you have to do it again. You have to do it
again. It's brutal. Oh, it's brutal. There are only certain people in the world who can do that, and this fellow is one of them.
Well, maybe he's terrific. He is 30. That seems a little young, but I'd really like to know more about the experience that's mentioned here,
look,
what his credentials are.
Enthusiasm 24/7. The mayor is not working 24/7 and couldn't and doesn't. And enthusiasm, if she doesn't have it, she shouldn't be mayor. But most importantly, to my way of thinking, there's a quote here that says, "I'm very excited to work for a village that's so interested in maintaining such a high quality of services for its residents. By them choosing to employ a village administrator," that's an interesting construction, "it really shows their interest in their government and the way they want to continue doing business." Do you think before saying that he actually went around in the village of Larchmont and looked at the condition of the roads, the street signs, the curbs, the sidewalks?
Oh, and you should go.
Maintaining such a high quality of services?
In the Pine Brook Park, where when those guys were doing the sidewalk renovation and they dumped all their junk there, so that's just wrecked the grass. I mean, there's a real problem at Pine Brook Park.
Do you remember what we did? The very first thing that we did, because Mike Weiner promised this in 2002 when we were on the campaign trail.
What?
Was to clean up Pine Brook Park and replant the grass.
Oh yes, and you got it looking really nice.
For the field for the little teeny kids, for the t-ball kids, and it's just I can't get this. Choosing to employ a village administrator, the high quality of services for its residents. Okay, but if you drive around, it doesn't look like there's a high quality of maintaining the village and its assets. And that doesn't even begin to deal with the catastrophe that is the streetscape over on Palmer Avenue and closing of businesses and cutting down of trees for somebody. I'm sure that one of the trustees, and I'm going to guess who it is, one of the trustees thought that it would be great to have trees that are all the same height, so that we should kill off the old trees and just put in new trees that are all the same height. In places where there's no Con Ed excuse, there are no wires overhead, it's just, we're going to make this like our living room. And then everybody in Larchmont is going to be happy, except that the stores have all gone out of business. And people in Larchmont are, by definition, unhappy about that, and you guys just keep going, and you keep rolling along. This whole thing, I really, this $175,000 for this fellow.
Total comp.
Comp and Benny's.
Comp and Benny's, okay.
It's on top of a paid fire chief we didn't used to have.
Right.
That's $175,000, if not more. It's on top of the Flint Park renovation that took down all of the trees that separated the town's property from the village's property and made it into a carpeted soccer field. It's great that kids play soccer. It's not great that kids play soccer on a carpeted field, and it's not great that we lost all those trees and all the absorption and all the benefits of having trees. There are 2 DPW heads in Larchmont, not one. We used to have 1.
Right.
Now we have 2. Right? We just keep expanding. We're expanding the amount of money that we spend. We're expanding the government to do what? Who needs their hands held so much?
And we still have the same number of residents.
6,500, and still 1.1 square miles. Nothing has changed except that people's perceptions of the effort that they have to expend on village affairs has changed. I don't want to do the work. I would prefer if we can hire somebody for $175,000 to be the fire chief, or total expense. Somebody from the village administrator position, $175,000. We took over Palmer Avenue.
These go up every year.
Of course it goes up every year. Took over Palmer Avenue and all of the maintenance expenses for Palmer Avenue. What was that for? In exchange for letting the county screw up our park? Actually, the judgments that have been made, I mean, really, if you think about it, the judgments that have been made by a uniformly one-party system board for the last 10 years are, in my view, awful. And now, we find that somebody has concluded that $1.5 million has to be put into the Larchmont Library, which if you went in there, you would think was a pretty nice place.
Well, it is a nice place.
It
was redone, you know, the children's room and all of that.
Been redone for
recently.
Over and over for the last 20 years. Right? The last major renovation, they said, the main library was last renovated in 1994. They don't bother to mention in this little brochure, which is very slick, by the way, and I'm sure it will persuade lots of people to come out and give out money. Nobody really knew about this until, what, a couple of weeks ago when these people were on LMC-TV, I don't know, a month and a half ago. But the explanations are just like the village administrator explanations. They're just like the, here's the explanation. Access to, no data, no data. We don't have data, we have feelings. We have, let's feel good about this.
It's not like there are so many people want to get in that people have to stand inside.
Shut out. And there are no more books. We're out of this, we're out of that.
Okay.
We have 3 reasons why the public library matters more than ever. One is, in today's economy, more people depend on libraries for access to books, magazines, research materials, movies, computers, online services, and more. I dispute that. That is just complete baloney. More people depend on their PDAs and their tablets and their computers for access to books, research materials, movies, or big time, Netflix, right?
Right.
They don't depend on the library for access to computers. They have computers. Second point, technical assistance. The breadth of technology and digital information today is overwhelming. Librarians provide vital help as information navigators and tech educators. Baloney. I defy that. That is absolutely not true.
There's a certain contingent of residents that's probably true.
It could be. It could be. That doesn't justify $1.5 million worth
Right.
of baloney. Last, this is the best one. A place to work, a place to gather. Students, you know, they never talk to anybody. Job seekers, writers, and self-employed residents all need a place to get work done. What's wrong with home? When did home go out of style? Technology at home can be isolating. Oh. So libraries provide a place for all of us to connect with neighbors and feel part of our community. Really? Who wrote this? Let me guess who wrote this. The same guy who wrote Alice in Wonderland and spent his entire life on cocaine. I mean, what kind of baloney is that? This is $1.5 million of investment.
Well, which is money they're raising, but then there's the upkeep.
Who's going to maintain this? How many more people are going to be required? How many more hours of light will there be? How much more heat? How much more air conditioning? What's the upkeep? Where's the numbers?
Well, that's the most important thing, because you even say there are some numbers there, but they don't
answer anything.
Well, it doesn't relate to anything.
It doesn't relate to anything. It's just astounding that a judgment has been made, and all these people are listed. The Board of Trustees is listed on the back.
Yeah.
The Transformation Committee is listed on the back. An honorary committee is listed on the back, which is all office holders. And let's see, there's one non-office holder. Yes, this is the slick piece that was put out to get you to fork over $1.5 million for some. It's not, there isn't a word in here about the public outcry.
The slick part is the naming opportunities.
That's the slick part? This is not slick? Looks slick to me.
Well, okay, but having naming opportunities, I don't remember there being other, I mean, maybe they're going to get bricks. I don't know, the way they did at Flit Park. I thought that was sort of fun. You know, I'd buy a brick.
We did. Yep, we did. We absolutely bought a brick. But $1.5 million of expense.
Yes.
Plus, who knows how much in upkeep on the annual budget. It seemed to me that if there had been hearings, and it had turned out that lots of residents had come to the hearings and said, oh my God, the library's awful. It's terrible. We can't get there. Their lines are huge. I have to spend 2 hours to get a book out. If there was something like this, a groundswell of residents who came forward to say, oh my goodness, this is such inferior service. But nobody would do that because the service isn't inferior. And the facility is beautiful. And now it turns out there's a group of people who have decided they have a lot of money and would like to give it away, would like their name somewhere up. Maybe these things will be lit up in neon. chief donor.
I want purple neon.
Yes, purple neon. That's absolutely right.
Maybe you should put that in the suggestion box.
Really, I mean, just where's the need? It's just taking money, just like hiring a village administrator because the board and the mayor can't do the work, just like hiring a fire department chief because they didn't like the volunteer fire chief. It's just throwing money away.
Well, and mostly what I hear about are longtime residents who have already moved or who are planning on moving because of taxes going so high. So it does have a negative effect of having a very diversified group of residents.
It has a negative effect of forcing older people out because the taxes are just ridiculous. And these people don't know the meaning of control. They don't have self-control. They don't know the meaning of self-control. It takes a lot of discipline, and you have to be really annoying to keep the budget in line. It's absolutely true. You have to do it. And if you don't do it, you wind up with this, just new expense piled on new expense, piled on new expense for nothing.
Well, we didn't even get to fracking. I guess that's next time.
Oh, I think we've fracked a little tonight.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much to our great LMC-TV talent, which is on the other side of the camera.
Next show, they're going to be sitting here, and we're going to be operating the camera.
Oh, things will look really funny then.
How do you mean that?
Well, thank you very much.